11 lengths and a bit of change and ridden right out. I'm happy for him to sit up on a horse when he got 11 lengths in front.
That was a statement. Black Caviar was in town. There was plenty of build-up at the start of the Royal Ascot. And I think that was just the connections of Frankel to say, you're on our turf, we're the king of the castle here, and we're going to show you what we've really got to offer.
OK, Michael and Nick, if I gave you $10 and you had a bet and it was between Black Caviar and Frankel, and remember this is going to go to print, so you have to go to your grave holding this, 1400, both horses fit.
Look, I almost feel bad saying this, but I think head-to-head over 1400 after watching what occurred on the week, Frankel is a machine. I'd be backing Frankel. 1200, Black Caviar would have his measure, but he is just a machine that the further the race went, the further he would have kept going. He's the best horse I think I've ever seen.
If you gave me $10, I'd probably turn it over on a few baseball games first and try and build a bank. But once I'd built that bank up, and I'm going to need a shower after saying this because I'm going to feel filthy, you'd have to have it on Frankel the way he won on the weekend. You just couldn't bet against him. He was unbelievable.
Where are we betting though? We're betting in Australia. We're betting in England. I think this is a big deciding factor because
who wins? Forget about it.
Frankel.
Now I'm going Black Caviar.
Just to be different.
She's won 22. He's won what? 11, 12, 11. Wait, call me when you've won 20, Frankel, and then we'll have a real good meeting.
Fair point.
He's won 11. He's sure, and that was a substandard field. And yes, he blew him off the park. I don't like that. I don't know why there's a pacemaker in a mile event. You give me a break. Come on, let's. Black Caviar. And yes, I'm saying that because you blokes all went 3 to Frankel.
Geez, that's a good PR to start this show.
Let's have a look at the posts from the forum that was thrown out there on the weekend. If Nolan extended her and she actually ran time with a fair weight, her rating would be a lot higher. She gets to 137. This is the time form ratings, of course. Frankel, 2 points behind Secretariat's win in the Belmont is ridiculous. OK, Mad Max.
How can they compare them? Like this time form ratings, this and rating that, it's near impossible to compare them to Secretariat or horses back in the past. They're racing on different tracks, different distances. Leave me out of that. I think we just enjoy the champions for who they are.
You just watch Black Caviar's rating go up after she beats inferior horses in the Diamond Jubilee to what she's beaten here. That's a good point. The horses over there that she beat wouldn't have beaten horses over here, and her time form rating only just goes up. OK, there we go. Black Caviar done, dusted, and fortunately she's coming home. We're going to take a short break here. We've got plenty of things to talk about, including the do's and don'ts of punting, according to our experts. Welcome back to Talkin Thru Your Kick. Thanks to our great mates at centrebet.com and puntersparadise.com.au. I have just realised that Agbon Lahore has written that I am an unwatchable drip.
It's a good welcome to the show, isn't it?
Jeez, they're harsh out there. We've been on for 8 minutes and they've given me the unwatchable drip tag already. Brent Zarafa, Michael Felgate, Nick Quinn. Let's have a look at the weekend racing. The Winter Carnival in Brisbane coming to a close in effect with the Tats Tiara Pear Tart, the winner for the Patnack Farm. What did you think, Brent?
Oh, I think it's a Group 1 race for mares, put on over 1,400 metres. I don't really think they're sort of the strongest mares going around in the country. Like they're good mares, but everyone's talking about risk aversion. It was probably the run of the race down the outside with the red with the yellow epaulets.
Go 3 wide now, 4, 5 wide to get it run.
But my take on the race is everyone's seen it. She's got the flashing light on her head. She's going to go around way unders at her next start. I'll watch her win. I don't want to be on her next start.
Nick, I know you're a keen student of the weekend racing. Is there anything in the Brisbane Carnival at this stage that you pinpoint going forward, or do you just take it as it is?
Absolutely. I'm going to stick with a horse called Zabillionaire, who we saw have a run-up in Brisbane after winning the South Australian Derby. And of the Australian horses going forward to a Cups point of view, I think Zabillionaire is going to be really worth sticking with. And Mental, unlucky not to get a start in the Stradbroke, but another one that looks very classy. And there are a couple of horses that I think will be prominent come the spring features in Melbourne.
Michael, Pear Tart, nice little 3-year-old going places. Won a restricted race, I think, not so long ago. Got an eye operation. I suppose you can say it's beaten Red Tracer. Red Tracer was a group horse in the Sydney Autumn Carnival.
Yeah, and it beat Mental last start as well. She's very promising. We thought she was a wet tracker. She's got a great strike rate, and she might be an up-and-comer. I think, as Brent said, though, what horses come out and what they can do out of this race moving forward. I know there was a lot of money with us at Centrebet, Midsummer Music. Maybe she just didn't come through that Stradbroke win. She might have been a bit flattened by that. And also the early favourite from the Colin Little stable, Soft Cell. He thinks that she is the best horse he's trained since El Segundo. Could be just a warning out there to punters, the difference moving up to Group 1 from where she was coming beforehand, and also drawing a wide barrier. Always wary taking the odds. She opened up about $4, I think, got out to about $4.50, but she was a little bit disappointing on face value. A
lot of people like to have little multis all up, and this is one that we've stolen from our website, and you can go and have your 2 bobs worth there. Red Tracer in my multis to place would have got 11,000 if Black Caviar and Adelaide, the Crows win. Red Tracer was crunched. 8s into 6s, last 5 minutes, of course, the Crows got beaten, so the 11,000 goes west.
Gone.
Exactly. At the 200, thought for sure Sky Rush would win, but it just didn't happen. Still a thrill. Good win for the in-form pair Tart, says Street Legal. Lots of input on the website, on the Twitters. This is what shows are all about nowadays.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think it made a good point there, the in-form pair Tart. I think with mares in form, fillies in form, that's where you can pick off these races. I'd like to see her come back and do it again as a 4-year-old.
Yeah, she's no Melito.
No, well, it's hard to say at the moment. She's still very lightly raced, but I think she's still got a bit to go.
Firebolt survived a protest in the Tats Mile. Huey Bowman threw everything bar the kitchen sink at Firebolt. It's a long time between drinks for this horse after Chris Waller took over.
I think he's been well placed in this race. I think he found his right, certainly his right race.
Was the protest frivolous? It looked like it was reasonable.
I think the margin being so small, you're entitled to have a throw at the stumps, but the stewards made the right decision.
Yeah, you see the grey horse certainly got inconvenience there in the back, but he was going backwards, and you see Firebolt. And I don't know how often Huey would hit a horse this many times in the last 100. I reckon he was doing the mathematics as he hit the line, whether that was, 12?
Yeah, I'm not sure sort of his legal limit there, but I think he's a horse that certainly needs a bit of persuasion, and then Hugh Bowman had to be aggressive to get him over the line because he's finished a close second in his past couple of starts. I think he needs a bit of encouragement.
We're going to have a look, Michael and Nick, about the Brisbane form going forward out of this particular carnival. For mine, I might get shot down in flames. It looked to be like a series of weaker horses, like Firebolt couldn't win in Sydney or anything like that, goes up there and, as Brent says, was well placed.
Oh, I think you have to take each race on its merits and the horses. Yeah, every year in Brisbane, I think they are probably a shade below Sydney and Melbourne, but you've also got some smart horses which can come out of it, like I think Sizzling is going to be a horse to follow. Mental, I think, is going to be a horse to follow as well. He didn't have much luck with a couple of wet tracks and stuff like that, but they're horses that can come up out of the ground. And a horse, Firebolt's got the form through. Solzen hits, and I think he's one of the most improved horses we've seen. If he can continue improving, he may not be one of the best horses in the country, but he can definitely pick up a Group 1 maybe in the early part of the Melbourne Spring.
Okay.
And the flip side to that is you look at some horses that were really dominant during the, autumn carnival, both in Melbourne and Sydney. A horse like Shopaholic, who beat Machine over 1,400 metres at Flemington, and has then gone up to Brisbane and couldn't win in 2 starts. So there's horses that are always going to fire in one carnival and flop in another, and that's just the beautiful thing about racing.
The beautiful thing about racing, we're looking at the backdrop behind you boys of the Emirates Melbourne Cup, and because it is that time that the Winter Carnival is just about done, we start to have a look at who's going to win the Melbourne Cup. But you blokes have picked the eyes out of the value there. Let's have a look at some of the Ascot runs. Brent, you can take us through a few of these, primarily because all of the favourites now are the overseas horses.
Yeah, you look at the early markets for the Melbourne Cup, and although they might be a little bit fraught with danger being all in, some horses mightn't come, but this is Sea Moon, trained by Sir Michael Stout, very extravagant galloping action, but Dunedin was obviously the run of the race here, the Melbourne Cup winner of last year. He got stood on his head at the top of the straight, lost all momentum, had to come back, but I couldn't be back in Dunedin. Red Cadeau was good. He's a genuine stayer. I'd like to see him come back to Australia, but Dunedin, I couldn't back it because I think they're going to go towards the Arc, so save your money.
It's $15 in markets, and the brackets are, it may not be coming. It's probably not coming to Australia, Nick.
Well, maybe our friends at Centrebet could do a little promotion, if you watch this show and you get your money back if it doesn't run.
Well, I'll tell you what, nominations aren't out. If you have a bet in early Melbourne Cup markets and the horse isn't even nominated, you do get your money back. So it's risk-free, boys. If you want to back Dunedin, have a crack. I can tell you now, I don't think he's coming either, because the Aga Khan, I should say, they've bought a new horse, the same connections as Dunedin. Sheikh Farhad, is it? Is
Very
that
well said, yes.
He's bought a horse off the Aga Khan, who we'll talk about very shortly, to come out and have another crack at the Melbourne Cup. I think Dunedin's going to go to the Arc.
Well, Colour Vision won the Ascot Gold Cup, a horse that has also been spruiked about coming out.
Yeah, well, the only thing with this, I don't know if he was the top pick from Godolphin. I think they had sort of two here.
They're desperate to win it.
They are desperate to win it, but 4,000 metre races at Ascot, we've seen in the past, they're probably not the right form line for a Melbourne Cup. It's sort of hard to say, but you can see here, not the right form line for mine.
No, they've had limited success, and it's generally been with the horse that's not their top pick, the Godolphins. And one of the horses that really took everyone's eye was Simonon, won on the first day and the last day. In fact, Nick, I think it might have been your get-out.
God bless its heart and soul. It
So
won
a field of
twice
20
over the
on the
carnival.
last race, you've got something on.
I think his get-out was in York at about 4:50 in the morning, actually.
Yeah, well, take us through this Simonon. What do you think of his chances going forward?
It was a fantastic ride from Ryan Moran. Really hit the line strongly. I love horses that can take a position and hit the line strongly, and that's exactly what happened. So if this horse comes out for the Melbourne Cup, and there's every indication that he will, he's my early pick.
Okay, well, let's have a look. Centrebet.com market, and we've picked out a few as well. Lucas Cranach, I just wouldn't touch anything. Atlantic Jewel, $21.
Please.
Please. Mawingo, Green Moon, Ethiopia. So there's the Australian horses we're familiar. But then we've got Sanagas, and here's where some of them start to get a little bit interesting. Jackleberry, Colour Vision, Moshine's probably not going to go
Cox
there.
Plate.
Cox
Don't worry
Plate.
about Melbourne Cup.
Polish Knight's a definite chance. We've picked out 5 at a bit of value, and our great mates at Centrebet.com are going to put a couple of $100 on each, so it's going to cost them $1,000. And I didn't tell Michael about that at the start of the show. So, Julianus, Galliando. Now, I understand Gay's got both of them, bought them from overseas. Vadamar, which I know is one of yours, Michael. Val Champ and Simonon we just saw. Take us through a couple of those, boys.
Well, I'll talk about the one I like, and that's Valdemar, and I'll also talk about Val Champ. Now, Valdemar, as I alluded to before, it's just been bought by the Sheikh who owned Dunedin to try and take his place into the Melbourne Cup. Now, he's only very lightly raced. He's had 7 starts for 3 wins, a second and 2 thirds. Was I think he ran about 7th or 8th in the Derby last year. But the wraps on this horse are very, very strong. That he has the touch of class, not just a grinding stay, but a touch of class, a little like what we saw Dunedin. So if it makes the trip out, I think it's about $51 at the moment on Centrebet. That's a good long-range price and a good long-range gamble to have. And also Val Champ, he's one that's definitely going to be there. He's qualified for the Melbourne Cup already, a BC3 owned thoroughbred. They brought him out from overseas. He's going to be trained by Anthony Freeman. So I know Freeman went so close with Lucas Cranach last year. So for the early punters out there, you can't go wrong with a Freddie horse.
Absolutely. South American horse, Val Champ, as well. So it's fantastic that they're really coming from all over the globe at the moment.
Okay, boys, we'll take a break there. We'll keep an eye on those horses, and I wouldn't mind having an even money bet that by the first Tuesday in November, none of our horses will be lining up in the 21-plus horse field for the Melbourne Cup. More to come as we get social with your thoughts and still some advice on what not to do when you go to the races. Yes, welcome back to Talkin Thru Your Kick. Brand new show here on TVN. If you've only just joined us, let me introduce the panel again. Brent Zarafa from the Daily Telegraph, a mug punter, self-confessed.
Yes, pretty much. That's our good title.
And an expert and a mug. You choose which is which in Melbourne. Michael Felgate, Nick Quinn from the Herald Sun. Hello, boys, again.
Yes, we're going to have an each way bet here. I'm not sure who's the expert in the mug. I've joined the bookmakers because I couldn't beat them, so maybe that says something.
I just enjoy having a punt.
I seriously am the world's worst. And we'll get to our do's and don'ts of punting, the always rules and the never rules. But you can contact us with your thoughts as well simply by going to all of our social media addresses. We've got Twitter address at TVNTTYK. You can send us an email at ttyk@tvn.com.au, and our website to partner is puntersparadise.com.au. Big g'day to Luke and all the team there at Punters Paradise. We'll have a chat to Luke about all. In fact, we'll have a look at the features of Punters Paradise and Centrebet's 400